Hello, guys. Ooh, chapter 1042. Winners shouldn't need rationalizations, which is really, really funny. Oh, I'll tell you why it's funny. Oh, don't you worry. Just wait here. All right. So, in chapter 1042, right, we start the chapter with what? With our boy X Drake stabbing a CP0. Okay, so a lot of people are complaining that the CP Zeros have no feats whatsoever at this point, and they're literally just garbage. Is this true? I personally don't think this is true, right? And I only say this to say the people that are at Wano right now, right, are of a certain tier or caliber of pirate, right? Because even before the 2 years, the supernovas were considered one of the most promising, like, pirate groups, right? Like the worst generation that was gonna give, like, the world government or the world in general, right, a run for its money. So thinking about that, right, would you think that someone who is classified or characterized as that is weak? Especially after time has passed, especially since it's been 2 years, right? Like we know everybody else has been kind of like doing their thing during the 2 years, right? And also, not to forget, right, X Drake has been part of Kaido's literal, like, one of the best groups that he has within the Beast Pirates, right? The Flying Six or the Topi Ropo, right? And he's been part of that. So does that signal that he's weak to you at all? If the man is still literally bloody and breathing and he's still going, right? And trying to put a damper in Kaido's plans. Does this seem like someone's weak to you? Okay, CP0 is not technically weak, right? It's just that the caliber of pirates that they're fighting right now, or that they're against, or that they're around, right, are very top tier. Because even if we think about it, right, that's a Whitebeard commander right there, right? He's a Whitebeard commander. What do you think? He's not going to be able to take care of a CP0 agent? What makes them so special, right? That people feel like, oh, they should be untouchable. Because all they just generally do, right, is that they just guard the world nobles, right? That's all we know about them, right? Like they just directly answer to the world nobles. That's it. But what does that mean in the world of One Piece, right? And that's where the whole power scaling thing comes in place. Powers, yeah. It doesn't matter. Okay, if you're trash, you're trash. Okay, winners should need rationalizations. Okay. Let's get back to the freaking review, right? So, this manga, right? This chapter, especially, has been one that we've all been waiting for a long time, right? Because this focused literally on Luffy versus Kaido. For the most part, that's literally what this was, right? Apart from, how there was like the X Drake and the CP Zero guy, and then maybe the people in Wano, creating the lanterns, which that alone is gonna be nuts, because the way that they've created these flying lanterns to be, and writing down people's wish and dreams, something crazy about to happen. You already know where this is going, right? We know they're gonna get sent up in the air. We already know our boy Luffy is up in the air, right? So what is Luffy doing out there? I mean, right now, currently, he's knocked out or whatever it is, right? But our boy gonna open up his eyes, right? What do you think he gonna see? He gonna see what he's fighting for, right? All those people's hopes, wish, and dreams, right? All around him. And you know what we might get? We might get what everybody's been waiting for. That awakening, right? Okay, it's like Gear 5th, like, maybe, but at this point, right, an awakening is more like the way to go, right? Because we've literally witnessed every single one of the worst generations, right? Like the supernovas, right? Get their awakenings in Wano. Like we've seen our boy Law get his awakening, and we've seen Kid get his awakening, right? So it only makes sense that Luffy is the next one to get that awakening, right? And what's interesting now is that because we kind of got that confirmation, right, in the chapter with Kaido when he was fighting Luffy, right? About the rubber not being rubber, right? Because he was like, how can rubber do this, right? Which is the speculation for a while, ever since they kind of started talking about it a few chapters back, right? Hinting towards like Luffy's devil fruit, like his true devil fruit. Like, what could it be, right? Because I'm curious to really see that if this fruit isn't the Gomu Gomu no Mi, right? And it's something else, what is it? Because it's gonna be interesting to see what they decide to do with this, right? Or what Oda decides to do with this, right? And what direction he's gonna take it in, to be able to be like, oh, okay, so it makes sense when we start putting everything together, right? To be able to get to this point, right? So it's interesting when that awakening occurs, right? But anyways, right, getting back to this chapter, right, we see Luffy, oof, going at it with Kaido, right, going at it back and forth, you know, doing this thing, holding him, like holding him back, all kinds of shit, right, giving freaking Kaido a run for his money. And we already know Kaido's a beast at this point, right? We already know Kaido's a monster at this point, right? So the fact that Luffy is able to do what he's doing right now, it's freaking impressive, man. That's literally one of those things where you just got to give it up and just say, like, yeah, our boy has freaking grown. He's boosted. He up. You know what I'm trying to say? He up. He no longer, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, mid tier or whatever, because like literally at that point, right, if you're fighting Kaido, and we've seen Kaido's feats at this point, like we've seen how crazy Kaido is, right? So to be able to do what he's doing to Kaido right now in his hybrid form, man, that is crazy, right? So obviously there's a lot of things that are just happening in there, right? One of the things that was like a major thing in this chapter, right, was kind of like the mention that Kaido kind of has future sight, right? Is that something that's like a stretch? Like, is it like so crazy that we can believe that Kaido has future sight? Because I, for one, right, think it's at this point, why not? Like, he's literally a beast, right? And he literally joined the Rocks Pirates at like the age of 15, or went on his first tour with them, or whatever it is that they do, right? Went on their first round or whatever it was, right? With Rocks D Spec at 15 years old. The boy was a beast, right? He's literally, no pun intended, the boy was a beast, right? So at this point, right, if he has future sight, right, and he's able to see the future, right, is that a surprise? I don't think it's a surprise, right? I think it actually makes a lot of sense because, you know, given his reputation, right? If it's 1 versus 1, always bet on Kaido. Just, I mean, like, apart from just the strength factor, but if he has future sight, that would literally make a lot of sense as to why his attacks always land, why his attacks are so devastating, like, because he might just know where, you know, where you're gonna be at. So if he knows where you're gonna be at, he's gonna be right there with you. You know what I'm saying? All right. So okay. Apart from that, right? We also see the flirty drunk. Stop it, you. Woo, man. Hey, Oda is like funny as hell, right? And I think this does a great job of showcasing Kaido's character, right? Because I feel like even though if Luffy's giving him this work, right? Because Luffy's giving him the work, but it's not enough work for it to kind of like be like, you know, like he has to be like so serious, you know, in a way like, oh, this is a life or death thing for your boy, you know what I'm trying to say? Obviously he's fighting, you know what I'm trying to say? But like to be able to have that flirty drunk phase in it, like, come on. It's kind of like, you know, he's not really taking this fight too seriously, but he should be, but he kind of is. Like, hey, you know what I'm trying to say, right? So I think that that was very fun to just kind of put that in there, right? As a moment to just showcase Kaido's strength and maybe like where he is at in this fight as well, right? And then Luffy just kind of still not letting up and just going, you still drunk? You still drunk? Yo, that shit was crazy, man. Okay. So now here comes the thing, right, that I found very, very interesting. So we've all at this point, you know, read the chapters, so we know. So when Kaido was given that speech, right, about, you know, the people of Wano in general, right, and the samurai, like saying that the people of Wano are either pacifists that are too weak, or the people of, or like the samurai of Wano are, you know, obsessed with dying for honor. You know, they're just weak. It's pretty much they're just weak, or they either die for honor or they just pacifists, but they have no real strength, right? So they're just used to getting defeated, right? And you were just pretty much basically saying that they're either winners or losers, right? And a loser is just a loser, right? And a winner shouldn't need any rationalization, right? Now, this is what I found funny, right? Because now, when we get to that point, right, where the CP0 guy, right, interferes in the fight, right, and he creates that opening for Kaido to land that hit on Luffy, right? We see that flashback with, you know, Oden, you know, and fake Momonosuke, right? And when Kaido was fighting Oden, right, that fight kind of got interrupted, right? I believe 100% that Oden was going to win that fight. Oden was a beast, right? You might agree, you might disagree, but the way that the fight was going, right, Oden was definitely taking that. He had that in the bag, right? Had in the hag interfered with the fight, right? And now I think that that's funny because that kind of traumatized Kaido in a way where the same thing that happened between him and Oden is now happening between him and our boy Luffy, right? But the whole thing is like, Kaido, if winners shouldn't need any rationalizations, right? Why does that bother you so much that you're not getting that fair fight, right? Because if you're just gonna win, right, you're just a winner. You just won that fight, so you're good. You don't, no worries. You just did your thing, right? So for me, right, it makes me think that Kaido is someone, right, who actually is honorable in a way, like, because you could even tell, like, when he kind of won the fight with Odin, like that whole interaction between them, and like how he wasn't very, happy or joyous or, like, proud of that victory, right? So I think that he's someone who holds like these values, right, that Wano has to, like, the honor system, right? And I think that at some point in his life, right, this man was someone who was actually a decent person. Like we see this in, like, a lot actually in One Piece, right? Where like a lot of the characters' backstories, right? These characters aren't necessarily bad people or bad, like, human beings, right? But something usually happens in their lives that usually transforms them into being whoever it is that they wind up being, right? And I feel like that is no exception to our boy Kaido, right? So that's gonna be very interesting to see what his story is, right? Because I think the same things that he's necessarily shitting on right now are the same things that he kind of believes in, right? So when Luffy got hit with that attack, right, and you saw it in his eyes, and he had that flashback or whatever, right, or you saw it in his eye because they just had that panel, right? But I'm saying, like, you saw that, right? He was traumatized by that. He was pissed off by it. He was mad, right? So it's like, why would you be mad at that? You should just take that W, right? So now it's interesting to see what he's going to do next, right? A lot of people think he's gonna, just go, towards that CP Zero guy, which, you know, rightfully so, right? And I don't know, like, is he gonna do that, or is he just gonna try to kind of, like, just hold it down like he kind of did with, Odin and whatever, right? And maybe while he's kind of just like trying to digest it in, our boy is gonna get that awakening that we know is coming, but we just don't know how, right? Or maybe he's just gonna go berserk, right, and literally start crushing the CP0 guy, right? Which would add to the list of them having zero feats, right? If Kaido just literally goes against this guy. I mean, but this guy's he's a death's door, like, or, you know what I'm saying? You already got that stab from my boy X-Drake, right? But if Kaido starts going towards him, right, and maybe like he's gonna like lose his shit and just like go berserk, and maybe he's gonna try to, like, destroy one. I don't even know. Like, maybe he might just break, right? He might just snap. And maybe during that snapping, right, because of that trauma or whatever's going on, right, maybe our boy then, right, is gonna start seeing all the hopes and dreams, seeing all the things that he's fighting for, right, and he's trying to bring to Wano, right, and maybe that's what's gonna make him ultimately have that awakening, right. I mean, like, I hope it's not a gear fifth, right? It could be a gear fifth, and maybe could be sick, right? Because maybe like his awakening is gonna be later on, but like it makes sense for him to get that awakening, right? But either way, we just know that a freaking power boost is coming next, right? Whether it's gear fisu or it's gonna be literally that awakening, something is gonna happen with our boy, right? So that's interesting to see what that is going to be. Okay, well, that's it for me for this week, man. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys, for supporting the channel. Thank you very much for subscribing. As always, you're welcome to leave your thoughts, theories, comments, whatever it is that you want to talk about on this video, right? It's all welcome, man. I want to hear what you guys think about what's going on in Wano. What's been your favorite moment so far, right? Because for me, definitely, right, this chapter, right, is probably one of the best ones that we've gotten, right? Not in a while, but just like more recently and whatever. It's been a lot of cool shit that's been happening, right? But this has been it, because this is what literally we wanted to see, right? What was going on with our boy and Kaido on that roof, right? So yeah, so please like and subscribe, turn on those notifications. I'm trying to say I'll be back with another video next week, right? Well, technically, like, I don't even know, like, it's Sunday now, so probably this week on a Friday, right? Because I just recorded this late, you know what I'm saying? So my bad about that. But on Friday, right, we're gonna be discussing what's gonna be happening, because I don't think it's on a break. I don't think it's on a break this week. So I know we getting that chapter, you know what I'm trying to say? Hopefully we get it early. I know that there's a lot of spoilers during the week, and I was really trying so hard, because I think I saw like a first spoiler on a Tuesday, my guys and gals, on a Tuesday, and I had to like bookmark that. I was like, I'm not gonna look. I don't want to know what's gonna happen, because if I do, it's going to spoil whatever it is, right? So hopefully, if there is an early chapter, great, that's amazing, right? If not, then we just get it when we get it, and then we'll dive deep into it to see what it's gonna be like, man. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you again, and I will holla at you at the next video manga review, right? And I'm probably thinking about doing like some other videos just in between, right? Like maybe some theories I might have, or maybe expanding further on like certain points of the chapter, or whatever the case may be, right? So I'm really thinking about doing that, and hopefully, you know, I make up my mind on it so I can start giving you guys this content, you know what I'm trying to say. All right, so until then, guys, I will holler at you later, and thank you very much for listening to y'all boy, and I'm out.